Well, a more hopeful outlook for Tesla emerging as CEO Elon Musk refocuses his attention on the EV maker. Musk stepping away from his identity as an influential political operator as Tesla faces weakness. The company reporting last month its worst quarter for sales in 3 years. For more now on what's next as Elon Musk enters a new phase, let's get to Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management CEO Ross Gerber. Ross, great to see you. Listen, a lot of places we could start with this one, Ross. Maybe, you look at Tesla. I know it's down today, Ross. It's in the red. But what a move for that stock. I mean, you're up about 50% from early April. I'm curious what you make of that move, Ross, and what you would chalk it up to. Is that Musk saying, I'm going to spend more time at Tesla? Is it easing trade tensions with China? Is it, hey, robotaxi's on the way in Austin? Is it all three? Something I'm missing? Walk me through it.
Well, I think the first two, you're dead right on. I don't know about the third because it's really hard to quantify the economics behind launching a robotaxi service, and we certainly don't think it's going to be accretive to earnings like for years. So it took Uber almost a decade to make money in the ride sharing business, and I don't think it's a very easy business. But I think the other two issues were major issues for Tesla. First of all, Elon wasn't working at Tesla. The company was adrift. It was a really big positive to see him back doing interviews from the factory floor. He kind of got the message, like, you need to show up to work because it's like the company desperately needs it. So that certainly helps boost the stock because whatever Elon's focused on is, he usually gets results. And then secondly, the China thing is a huge problem for Tesla because Tesla is really an important company in China and it's an American symbol in China like Apple. And I was very concerned that this would, potentially blow up into a full trade war where, the boycotts that we're seeing here in the United States and Europe would extend to China even. And so, I'm pretty happy to see the trade, I wouldn't say be solved, but simmered off a little bit. And it was a direct benefit to Tesla to have Chinese tensions ease. So that did bring the stock back up, but we're now at a valuation that's well beyond even Tesla's traditional, 100 times forward earnings. So, for investors who are concerned about Tesla's future, it's an opportunity to let go of some of the stock.
Which I know is something that you've been doing, Ross. I also thought, I was struck by some of the comments that we heard from Elon Musk when he was speaking to that conference in the Mideast. And among other things, he said he was going to pull back from his political giving. I guess unless he sees the next opportunity to do political giving where he wants to.
Right.
But I have to wonder, with his sort of backing off of Doge, recommitting to Tesla, and he also made the point that, they might have lost customers on the political left, but gained them on the political right. Where do you think this sort of brand goes from here, both in the US and also in Europe?
Well, clearly, Elon's trying to minimize a reality that exists right now, which is Tesla sales are going down. And they've been going down substantially, even more this quarter. So, there's a little bit of this denial going on of the effect of his political actions on and personal belief systems that he's amplified on the actual brand. But the brand is probably one of the most hated brands in the world now, unfortunately. And for a company that does so much to try to make a difference in climate and for human life in a positive way, it's extremely distressing to me how negative the brand is viewed today. And I don't think he made any attempt to try to reckon with that at all. So I don't know how that solves itself. And I think until Tesla continues to see weak sales, which I think it will, at some point they'll need to address this.
Ross, a final question, just your point about self-driving cars being a long-term trend, and it's well taken. I do wonder whether you think, and I don't want to overstate it, Ross, but whether you think something might be shifting there. I mean, I was just struck by the Waymo co-CEO telling reporters this week they have reached 10 million trips, doubling in the past 5 months. As an investor and a longtime tech investor, Ross, are you excited about that trend? Not in the near term or in the intermediate term, but 5, 10 years out. And how do you think about Tesla's potential role in it?
Well, this is kind of one of my favorite things to do as an investor is really try to brainstorm what does this future really look like when you think about it from a more human perspective, not what the tech people expect us to do. So there's two issues here. One, Waymo is incredible. It's doing an incredible job. It drives safer than humans. It's incredibly effective service, and we see them as the leader in robotaxi, and they're rapidly expanding, and people love the experience with Waymo. They're doing phenomenally well here in Los Angeles and the Santa Monica area. You see Waymo's working nonstop, and I have yet to hear anybody say anything bad about it, and we talk to a lot of Waymo customers, so Uber really has to worry about Waymo for sure. Secondly, there's no doubt in my mind that Waymo has solved robotaxi in a way that makes driving safer, where Tesla has not yet. And this is an important difference, because until you can make the car safer than humans driving, it's really hard to get mass adoption of sort of not driving. So, in my mind, the robotaxi's been solved by Waymo, and Tesla should look at what Waymo's doing, and in a lot of ways they're copying them. And I think eventually we'll see very big similarities between what Tesla's doing and what Waymo's doing, especially with the hardware on the car, which Elon's going to have to admit at some point isn't adequate for real safe full self-driving. So the real issue is, are you going to give up your car and the convenience of having a car whenever you want it to do errands and drop off your kids and pick up the dry cleaning and then go stop by the beach for a run? And, people, this is a symbol of who you are and your independence. And I personally don't see myself giving up driving, because I love cars and I love driving. And I asked my kids this, because my kid's 13, and I'm like, should I teach you how to drive a car, or are you just cool taking robocabs your whole life? And he looks at me like I'm nuts. He can't wait to have a car, So there's a part of the human behavior here that I think isn't going to change. And even replacing the vehicle fleet would take 20 years. And Elon told me that himself many years ago when I asked him. And so I just don't see robotaxi expanding the market for taxi services substantially on the near term at all. So it's really a competition between Uber, Waymo, and Tesla in the end to get your ride service needs done. But how does this market really expand? That's the big question. And I'm not sold that humans are giving up their cars.
Ross, always good to see you. Always good to have you on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.